This is a tutorial on creating AWS profiles on your computer so that you can have different projects that use a profile to point to different AWS accounts or AWS instances. This is helpful if you have your own AWS account as well as maybe one for your work, one for a collaboration project you're working on. The access credentials are going to be different for each of those, and so it's nice to be able to have a profile set up where it uses the access credentials for each project rather than having to go in and manually switch it each time. So let me show you how to do that. If you go to your AWS console and go to the IAM service, when you open this up, it'll let you create a user, and it basically gives that user access to your AWS instance. And then if you delete the user, they don't have access anymore. So this is a great way to collaborate. You can give somebody access for the duration of your collaboration and then delete it afterwards. So if you add a user, you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to do mine as demo user. You're going to give them programmatic access. And then you need to add them to a group. The group gets permissions, not the user. So you create the user and add them to a group, and the group has certain permissions. I have this full access group that I've created on here. Here's one I did for another demo. If you don't have any groups yet, you just click create group, and then it's going to let you name it. And this would be my full access group. So basically, for serverless to be able to deploy properly, it needs full access. And so you're going to give this administrator access here. And then you would create this group, and you would add your user to the full access group you created. Or in my case, I already have this full access group. It's the same thing, really. They just both have administrator access, so you can add them to either one. And then you create the user, and it's going to give you this secret access key and the access key ID. And you actually can't get these back once you leave this screen. There's no way to retrieve it. So you're going to want to copy these in. And so the profile that we're going to create is going to use these access credentials. And so what you do is if you cd into your root and then the .aws folder, you'll see it has this credentials file. We're going to open that up. And this is where you name the profile, and then you have your secret access key and access key ID. So I have this demo user that I've named, and now I just need to enter these in. And AWS. And if I copy this, oh, wrong one. Okay. So you'll copy both of these in. And then you just save the file. So Control O if you're using Nano to save, Control X to exit. So this AWS file keeps track of your different profiles. So I just created a profile called demo user, and I told it what access credentials to use. So if I now have my project use the demo user profile, it will use these access credentials. So when it tries to deploy to AWS, it provides AWS with these credentials, and AWS knows to push it to this account. So now that I have this demo user profile in my project, in your serverless.yaml, you can list a profile here and just say, I want to use the demo user profile. You save that, and anything I deploy now will go up to my AWS instance. So here's what it currently does. It says Lambda function is running test. And if you come here, you'll see that it is in fact running. So now if I do with new demo user credentials, save that, and we're going to deploy this function again. And if you have a computer like mine, it takes a second to deploy. My computer's pretty slow. I am going to pause the video and start it up once that finishes deploying. Alright, that finished. Probably took another 30 seconds, so I'm glad I paused the video. Okay, and now we refresh, and it's using the demo user credentials to push to my AWS instance. And that's about it.